Gary and Valeria sitting in the tree. COMMUNCITING.
Communicating?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my god, did I spell it right?
I don't know.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we decided to shoot a video based on a lot of the DMs that I got about different questions of like how not to kill your partner during quarantine. And I feel like we've been doing well.
Yeah, look, I think we've been doing great.
Gary messaged me and he's like, we should do a video of how not to get a divorce during quarantine. So I was like, you know what? I think that's a great idea to just take all your questions and the DMs that you've been sending me and just talk a little bit about it, share our experience and kind of a little bit of the tools that we've been using. I feel like it's been a big test for a lot of people because I think that a lot of us don't get that much time with each other in such close proximity 24/7. So it's been a lot, especially if you have kids and then you put that into the equation. It's a lot of things going on.
I think we're well suited for this as a couple because we already spent a lot of time together. Like before all of this happened, we spent a lot of time together. We communicate a lot about the kids and about the business and about just our lives in general. You
came into this in a very collected manner and I feel like you've been handling it really well, which really helped me to also be less dramatic about it.
Meanwhile,
so we had this full amazing conversation in the car and we had to cut it short because we had to go back to the kids and go back to our circus and chaos. So I'm gonna continue talking to Gary about how not to get a divorce during quarantine. Okay, so let's just jump into the questions. Right. So the first question is, how do we avoid arguments? I feel like we're in general good communicators. We talk about things a lot. If something bothers me, I'll tell him. I won't kind of wait for him to figure it out. If we do have an argument, we just kind of talk about it. And if I feel that I'm getting really heated and annoyed, I usually, for the most part, I will step away from the situation. So I won't blow it out of proportion and I won't say something that I would regret. And that's kind of how I make sure that if we do have an argument, it's done properly and everything that I have to say is communicated in a proper way. It doesn't always work, but 90% of the time I feel like I can catch myself right before I'm losing my and just step away and then come back and be like, this is what bothered me. And we kind of talk about it. What do you think?
So for me, I'm always doing a cost-benefit analysis. If I'm gonna bring something up with you, if I'm gonna argue something with you, I'm gonna debate something with you because I don't like something, I ask myself how important it is for me to get resolution or action on what's bothering me. If it's really important, then the benefit of that has to be significantly greater than the cost of you and I getting into an argument. For me, it has to be to the point that something bothers me to such a degree that I have to take action and engage with you about it. No joke, 99% of fights can be avoided. 99% of conflict in a marriage, under quarantine or not, can be avoided by going inside and asking yourself, how important is this conversation? So I think that's one of the ways to avoid it. The other ways to avoid it is that if you're angry, don't get into it when you're angry. Give yourself some time to calm down and then talk about it when you're calm.
How do you deal with arguments during quarantine when you're unable to have space away from your partner? I mean, we do manage to get space, I have to say. Yeah.
You just leave. You can leave. You can still.
Yeah, and I'll voice that I need space, and again, it all goes back to communication. Gary knows that when I ask for space, it means I need it. It doesn't mean that he has to follow me to the bedroom and ask what's wrong.
If you're in, let's say, a studio apartment together right now, and you're a couple and you're getting on each other's nerves, you can create space. It doesn't have to be physical space. You can literally sit on the opposite side of the room with your back to each other and put in your headphones and just do your own thing, whether it's reading a book, doing your work, doing some exercises. You can distance yourself. You can create that space, that mental space, by just doing your own thing. And if I may, you can't have an ego about it. So if your partner either tells you flat out, hey, I need space, or if you get that vibe from them, you should verbalize it and say, it seems to me like you need space right now. Do you need me to bounce? Do you need me to go away? And I think having that line of communication and not getting offended by it. So when Valeria needs to be alone, I'm so in tune with her at this point. I know when she doesn't want me around. I don't take it personally. Like, I don't get upset about it. I don't have an ego about it. I take it to a fact I think to create space, you have to be proactive about creating that space.
100%. What are your best communication tips? I think staying calm is very important. So if you need to step away from the situation and just kind of take a breather, 100% do it.
Remove your ego from the conversations with your spouse.
Yeah.
And with everyone, actually. You're gonna live a much happier life. Remove your ego. It's not about winning.
Yeah. And then remembering that it's you and your partner against the problem, not you against your partner. So I think that's very important. And once you approach, any kind of situation or problem with that mindset, I think it's just easier to be kinder to each other and to figure out a solution that works for both of you. So I think that's the most important thing when it comes to communication.
Learn to communicate. As a guy, I think guys are, and I don't want to generalize, but guys communicate, I feel they're not as good as communicating as women. You can still be you, but you can just be more open, and you need to do this, otherwise you're gonna have problems, in my opinion.
I wanted to actually touch on this point of, some people, they come to their partners and they say, something is missing, I feel like I need more from you. And I think that communication, the power of communication is strong when you really break it down and get to the heart of what it is that you need from your partner. What happened was we were in a car, we kind of went on a little day to pick up some bagels, and we were talking about something, and Gary mentioned, I feel like you don't show me enough appreciation for the things that I do. And I said, okay, well, that's weird because I feel, and I think that it's very common in relationships. I say, I feel that, I am showing you appreciation. And I asked him, you know what, I need you to tell me more specifically what it is that you need from me. And I think a week or two ago, I was kind of going through some stuff online, and that's where I discovered these 5 love languages. So there are 5 love languages, and different people perceive love in a different way or accept love in a different way. So the 5 love languages is the first one, words of affirmation. Second is gifts. Number 3 is acts of service. 4 is quality time, and 5 is physical touch. And everything kind of goes under those 5 things. So I asked him, and I actually pulled it on my phone, and I asked him what it is out of these 5 do you feel that you're missing? What it is out of these 5 can I focus on? Because for you, maybe gifts don't mean anything, but words of affirmation is something that you would really appreciate, and it will really make you feel loved. So we kind of went through them, and I feel like that's such a better understanding.
So what was your understanding?
I feel like for you, you need, I do acts of service for you, and to me, my
acts of service being like you always cook for me.
Yeah, I'll cook you breakfast or whatever, bring you water, or I'll ask you if you want coffee, like things like that. That's my love language.
And it seems like a small thing, but for me, that really that really helps continue to solidify our relationship.
So when we talked about it, I've noticed that, for you, it is some words of affirmation, although I felt like I was doing it enough, but I feel like I've noticed that there are certain moments where, there is more room for words of affirmation. So I think that's something that I'm starting to do. And then also the physical touch, especially now with kind of the situation, it's a little harder, but not only on kind of the intimate side, but also just like, a hug or a kiss, or just kind of during the day to come and like hold your hand or give you a hug. For you, that's never something that I thought that you need more of. And after discussing, it was really like highlighted to me. So I think that's such an easy conversation to have, and just not even when you have a misunderstanding or an argument or something is missing, just to have a better understanding of what it is that your partner values in a relationship and what they would like to see more of. Okay, how do you make family time special when you are in the house together all day? I'm running the company and I'm creating content, so I do have like from 9 to 5 I'm working. We take the breaks during the day for lunch, or just like I see what the boys are up to, and they have their own schedule, which keeping them busy. So I feel like I don't really schedule any special family time. I feel like for me, this experience of being, in this space together constantly just made me realize that these are the special small moments. Like I feel like us being available to the kids and us being close to each other every single day physically just makes us feel more connected emotionally as well. So, and I even see it in the behavior of the kids. So I feel like that's the special moments of like, we have the time now for you to go and ride with Jake, or, those things are so special. And that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to figuring out, is that once it's done, how do we recreate that special quality time that we're experiencing right now, for them seeing and knowing that we're constantly around, and they can come and like just tell you something insignificant is actually like means so much to them.
That's really true. And I know it's easier said than done, and it's just like exercise. You don't get results right away. So continue to focus your mind on the positive elements. Focus on a daily basis and create these affirmations on looking at that positive side of the list.
How do you find time for yourself? So for me, I schedule the time for myself, to be quite honest with you. And I schedule reading time, I schedule as much as I can, to be honest. But then also I'll just sneak moments throughout the day of, going to sitting on the floor, like I mentioned, in the bathroom, and just hanging out with myself, or taking my time getting ready in the morning. This is time for myself as well. And I think that usually, especially for the mothers out there that watch this, I know that it's very difficult right now because you have to be so many things for the kids and for the family. You have to keep up with their schoolwork and things like that. Just give myself a break and not being too hard on myself, trying to constantly like entertain them or make sure that I'm on top of everything. This is how I make time for myself, because a lot of the time we feel guilty. So even if moving away from that like guilt zone was very important for me during this time.
So for me, the way I make time for myself is outside of the core functions of what I have to do, primarily for business, the things that are really important that need to get done for business. What I like to do and what I've been finding has worked really well for me, and it actually makes me happy. I'm finding tasks that I wouldn't have typically, like I've been putting off, or I felt guilty that I wasn't doing because it wasn't like a super important task. So that's what I do. I'm doing stuff that I typically wouldn't have done.
Do you arrange date nights while safe isolating? I wouldn't say we arrange it, but we try to find time to spend alone time together. If it's even like we started doing this thing once a week, I think we're doing it. That we'll even go in the car. We'll go do a takeout from a restaurant, which is great because we're also supporting our local businesses, and we're gonna have it like just both of us in the back seat, and kind of we're having that one-on-one interaction and some quality time. So we do that. We'll go for like coffee runs sometimes, and then once the boys are down, we were watching a TV show. Now we finished it. That was a really quick season. Those are kind of our moments of quality time together.
Okay guys, look, stay safe. Please don't forget in all of this why you got together in the first place. It's because you love each other. All right?
It's a team effort.
Don't mess up your relationships over this coronavirus stuff, okay?
Yes.
The coronavirus is the enemy, not each other. All right? We love you guys.